Welcome back. In this brief lecture, we would discuss how to structurally characterize a porous electrode. There are different levels of structural characterization. We will just adopt a fairly simple way of characterizing porous electrode. See, what we need to understand is we are trying to develop an effective medium theory. That is, instead of representing a fairly inhomogeneous object in all its detail and complexity, we want to specify this inhomogeneous object using some simple parameters. So, the simple parameters can be like epsilon, which was discussed in the last lecture, which refers to the fraction of electrolyte that is present in the porous electrode. And it can be A, the combined actual surface area divided by the volume. So this is sort of the minimal detail that we need to put into the model to homogenize, that is, volume average and very inhomogeneous medium to get some kind of a theory. So the proof of the pudding is in its eating. So these theories have been fairly successful because that has helped us model and describe experiments to a reasonable level of accuracy, but with additional accuracy or additional detail, the model can be made more accurate. So two things have to be characterized. First is just a structure, and other thing is the transport property. What do we mean by that? Supposing when an ion is getting transported in a porous electrode, this transport is fairly non-trivial because there is enormous amount of tortuosity. Okay, there are a lot of channels, so it, it the transport is not straightforward. It's not a linear path. It has to adopt a tortuous path. So we will not be talking about transport characteristic in this lecture, which we'll postpone it to the next lecture. Here we'll be talking mainly about structural characterization. Instead of this kind of a real structure where the surface element is randomly oriented, we have characterized or we have modeled this structure using idealized pores in the previous lecture. Again, similar concepts which we used for this kind of an idealized structure will be utilized for describing these kinds of structures. So two things are important. One is epsilon. Epsilon is defined as the total volume of the porous electrode minus the volume occupied by the solid phase, which is the electronic conductor, divided by total volume. So this gives you the fraction of the porous electrode that is occupied by the ionically conducting electrolytic liquid phase. The other important parameter is A, which refers to interfacial area divided by superficial volume. With this, we have elaborated in the previous two lectures. So this is very easy to imagine, visualize in these kind of ideal geometries, but it is sort of harder to visualize in the real case. So moving from this idealized representation of the pores via a cylindrical pores, we can go to a slightly more complex representation, which gets us towards the real geometries. So in this more, in going from the cylindrical pore, we are going to represent the porous electrode via a bed of packed spheres. So this packed bed is a common way of representing a porous media, which is often used in chemical engineering and in mechanical engineering. So, um, so we are going to use a bed of packed spheres to represent a porous electrode. So here, how do you get to this quantity A? This is obtained by taking into account the number of spheres times the area of each sphere divided by the total volume. So this represents the amount of solid material that is present. Epsilon is the fraction of the electrolyte that is present. So 1 by 1 minus epsilon is the amount of electronically conducting solid material. So this is indicative of the entire amount of solid material that is present divided by the volume of each of the sphere that is being taken into account. So this gives you the number of spheres that are present in the entire porous electrode times the surface area from each sphere divided by the overall volume. Okay, so if you substitute all these terms, this is the simplified expression. So this gives you a feel for on what quantities this A depends. If you decrease R, that is the radius of each of the sphere, you are going to be increasing A. Likewise, if you decrease epsilon, that is the fraction of electrolyte that is present, you are also going to be increasing A. Note, if you have epsilon equal to 0, that doesn't serve the purpose, right? You want to have a porous electrode which has two components. One is an electronically conducting component, another is an ionically conducting component. So you cannot have either of the two extreme limits. That is, you cannot have epsilon equal to 0 or epsilon equal to 1. Anything in between is all right. So when another feature of the porous electrode is the characteristic pore size. So P refers to the pore, RP refers to the characteristic pore size. So we indicate this by ratio of two quantities, volume of the voids um, divided by the this particular quantity, which is the wetted surface area. So volume of the voids divided by the bed volume, which is indicative of the amount of electrolyte that is present, that is indicated by epsilon. This term is represented by A. We have elaborated on both these terms in previous lectures and the previous slide. So this quantity is important because the transport of ions depends upon this quantity. So this can be further simplified by an expression which we derived in the previous slide. A is given by this quantity. So if you substitute this quantity for A into this expression, you get this quantity. Again, this gives you a feel for on what quantities does the characteristic pore size depend on. Okay, so that depends on, is directly dependent on R, and it also depends upon epsilon in the following manner. So moving on, what we want to be indicating or obtaining from experiments is the characteristic pore size. This is a very complicated beast. Okay, so this is obtained from experiments, and typically these experiments are of this nature. You fill in a fluid, okay, to get the pore size distribution. So people who come from heterogeneous catalyst background are probably familiar with BET surface area, right? In chemical reaction engineering as well as heterogeneous catalysis, this is an important quantity. So BET surface area is obtained using certain experimental technique wherein a gas is utilized for getting a measure of the interfacial area that is present. So in this case, you may use experiments like mercury porosimetry to get the pore size distribution. So typically, there is the pore size distribution is bimodal. Okay, so there are certain pore sizes that are indicative of certain pores which are smaller in dimension, and there are certain other pores that are larger. So in this material, so there seems to be two distinct kinds of pores, one smaller pores and one larger pores. So this is obtained by filling, let's say, fluid, in this case mercury, to obtain the amount of mercury that has gone into filling the smaller size pores and the amount of mercury that has gone into filling the larger size pores. So what do these two pore size indicate? This indicates the pore size distribution within one electronic conductor, and this indicates the pore that exists between the electronic conductor. Okay, so there can be porosity within the solid object and the electronically conducting phase, and there can be pores that are in between the electronic conducting phase. Okay, so sometimes this pores might not be accessible to the electrolyte. Only this pores might be accessible to the electrolyte. The overall take-home message is this quantity is a quantity that is obtained from experimental measurements. So we effectively want two quantities, epsilon and A, and we use experiments to specify these two quantities, and these two quantities go into the porous electrode theory. In the next lecture, we will look at some rudimentary aspect of how to specify transport in a porous electrode. Thank you.